Welcome back, guys. In this video, we're going to discuss for loops. A for loop is very simple, and just as the name suggests, a for loop is a piece of code that executes for something. It's used for iterating over a sequence. Now, a sequence can be anything. That is, it can be strings, it can be lists, tuples, or dictionaries, or other sequences, basically. And it does not require an indexing variable to be set beforehand. The for loop is more like an iterator method, and basically we'll be seeing everything about it. So enough about the explanation of the for loop, because there's not much you can explain in the for loop. So let's dive right in and see some examples. So we're in our Jupyter notebook, and I've created a list of numbers from 0 to 9. And I want to print each of the numbers in the list. For this purpose, I'm going to use a for loop. So for number in numbers, print number. As you can see, it prints out every number in the list from 0 to 9. So in this piece of code, what we're basically doing is we're printing each and every number in the numbers list. So initially, the variable number is assigned the first value in the numbers list, which is 0 over here. After which, the code inside the for loop gets executed. So basically, print number, which is the code inside the for loop, which gets executed. After this is done, our first iteration is complete. Now we move on to our second iteration. So number becomes 1. So second value is assigned to the number variable, and it prints out whatever is in the for loop, or it executes whatever is in the for loop, and our second iteration is complete. And this pattern continues until the variable number becomes equal to the last element in the list. So here it's 9. And then our for loop stops. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't necessarily need to use number over here. You can use any other variable. For example, you can use x, but be sure to change the value wherever you're changing. So for x in numbers, print x. This will print exactly the same thing as you'll see. There you go. It prints exactly the same thing. So we iterated over items in a list. Now let's try iterating over elements in a string. So for letter in Python, colon, print letter. Think about what this will do. You can pause the video. As you can see, it prints out the letters in the word Python. So basically, we have a string over here, and our for loop is going to iterate over every single element in the string. So every single element, by every single element, I mean P, Y, T, H, O, N, all the letters. Again, you can use any variable over here and it'll be fine with it. Works just the same. So here, a letter gets assigned to the first value. Over here, it's the letter P. And then it executes whatever is in the for loop. So here it's printing the letter out, or printing the value out. Moves on to the next iteration where x becomes y. So basically, x is assigned the value of y. Prints y out. Then x becomes t. So x is assigned the value of t. Prints it out. Third iteration complete. So on until x is equal to n. So x assumes the value of n and prints it out, and then our for loop ends. Now let's try using the range function with our for loop. For x in range 5, colon, don't forget your colons, and don't forget the indentations, because as I keep on saying, indentations are very important in Python. What do you think this will do? Think for a moment. As you might have guessed, it prints out values from 0 to 4. So what this is basically doing is that x starts from 0 and increments itself by 1 by default and ends at the specified value. So our specified value over here is 5. So x becomes 0 in the first iteration and prints out 0. Then x moves on to become 1 and then prints it out. Third iteration, x becomes 2. Fourth iteration, x becomes 3. And fifth iteration, x becomes 4. So fifth iteration. And that's basically how the range function works. We can also add an extra parameter or an optional parameter to the range function. For example, 2, 5. What this does is that instead of x starting from 0, x starts from the specified value. That is the first parameter. Here we've specified it as 2. So x starts from 2 and then moves on till 5. So everything up to 5, not including 5. Okay, now we know that we can change our default starting value. But do you know what we can do if we have to change, or if we want to change the incrementing value? For example, we don't want this to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want it to be 0, 2, 4, and so on. Well, there's an optional parameter, optional third parameter, I'd say. So let's specify the range 3, 15, 2. So from our previous examples, we know that x will assume values starting from 3, everything up to 15, but not including 15. And after every iteration, x will increment itself by 2 units. So let's see what this will print out. As you can see, x started from 3 over here. And then in the next iteration, x is equal to 5. So x was incremented by 2, which we specified as our third parameter. So in our third iteration, again, we have 7, fourth iteration 9. So as you can see, x has incremented itself by 2 units in each iteration. And it has gone up to 15, but not including 15. If we want to include 15 in this list, we have to make this 16. And there you go. So everything up to 16, but not including 16. Now, what if we want to print out just even numbers in a list of numbers from 1 to 10? So in this list, we have numbers ranging from 1 to 10. And yeah, we want to print out all the even numbers from this list. Well, we can easily do that using a for loop. As so. So for number in numbers, if number mod 2 is equal to 0, print number. As you can see, it printed out all the even numbers from 1 to 10. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So basically, what this did was number initially became 1. So basically 1 was assigned to the number variable. Then the if condition inside of the for loop checked if the number was even using our mod operator. So our mod operator gives us remainders. So after dividing by 2, if remainder is 0, then obviously the number is an even number. So we checked the condition using our if loop and then printed out the number. So this happened for every iteration. When number was equal to 3, well, 3 mod 2 does not equal 0, so 3 is an odd number, and it did not print 3 in the list. There's another way to do the same thing for x in range 11. If x mod 2 is equal to 0, print x. Now this considers every number from 0 to 10. Notice here that I've used 11 as our specification because x will go on to become everything up to 11, but not including 11. And then again, the if loop inside of a for loop, which checks the condition if number is odd or even, and then prints it out accordingly if it's even. Now, if you're wondering if there can be a nested for loop, well, you're absolutely correct. Nested for loops do exist. Let's take an example. Let's take some colors. So I've created 2 lists. A list of colors, which includes 3 colors, and a list of items, which includes 3 items. Now, I can say for color in colors, for item in items, print color, comma, item. Let's see what that will do. As you can see, it made all the permutations possible over here. So initially, the first for loop, in the first for loop, the variable color assumed the color black. And in the second for loop, the item variable assumed the value of books, which is the first value in the items list, and then it printed it out. Now the first iteration is complete for the inner for loop. Next, the item becomes, well, the items assumes the value bags, which is the second value, and then prints out black bags. Notice that the color remains the same because our first iteration for the first for loop or the outer for loop is not yet complete until this for loop is over. Next, the item becomes pencils, and it prints out black pencils. So now this is the end of the items list, and our for loop ends over here. Next, color changes to white, and item goes back to being books, which is the first item, and then it prints out white books. Item becomes bags, and it prints out white bags accordingly, and then white pencils. And then similarly, our second iteration is over for the outer for loop. So now the outer for loop variable, which is color, assumes the last value in the list, which is blue. And then the same thing happens, and we have blue books, blue bags, and blue pencils printed out. So that's how a nested for loop works. So there's lots of things we can do using a for loop. And try thinking of some things on your own where these loops would be useful. And that's it for this video. See you in the next one. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.